Tonight on First at 9, this Monday, the 24th of June, 2024. Trade Union Action. Education Secretary requests security for schools island-wide as academic and non-academic staff engage in sick leave campaign. Inflation. Sri Lankan NCPI-based inflation eases in May as food inflation drops. Palestinian crisis. President Ranil Wickremesinghe calls for the establishment of a Palestinian state within 5 years. Free visa. A committee report on the proposal to issue free visas for 67 countries within the next 2 weeks, reveals Tourism Minister. Leadership crisis. The leadership crisis within the Sri Lanka Freedom Party heats up as Dr. Vijay Rajapaksa vows to take over following the upcoming presidential election.
ඔබේ විශ්වාසය දිනු සෙන්සුරයින් දැන් ළඟමැති ෆාමසියෙන් ලබාගත හැක. ආරංචිය සුබයි.
From Derana, this is Derana First at 9 with Ndivari Amuata. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
And a very warm welcome. You're joining us tonight on First at 9 with the very latest from across Sri Lanka and around the world. Tonight too, we'll take you through the top stories here at home first. President Ranil Wickremesinghe revealed that the government has plans for several new projects, including housing initiatives for the homeless in the Batticaloa district, which have been scheduled to commence in the next few years. Meanwhile, the head of state reiterated the government's unwavering stance on the conflict in the Gaza Strip, emphasizing that Sri Lanka remains steadfast in supporting the establishment of the Palestinian state within a period of 5 years.
On the sidelines of his tour of the eastern province, President Ranil Wickremesinghe engaged in a special service held yesterday at the new Kartankudi Grand Jumma Mosque for the people affected by the conflict in Gaza. The mosque donated 10,769,417 rupees to the Children of Gaza Fund, established under the President's directives to support children affected by the conflict.
The government maintains a steadfast position on the Gaza issue, which will not change. If Israel has issues with Hamas, retaliation should not be taken against the people of Gaza. Hamas will always be present in Gaza, whether we like it or not. We have to assist Palestine in finding a solution to their issues. Our stance is to establish the Palestinian state within a span of 5 years. It is pointless to hold discussions without a proper time frame in place. The issue of burial has been a significant concern over the Muslim community in Sri Lanka. Initially, a separate committee was appointed, deviating from the guidelines of the World Health Organization, which created problems and caused grief among the Muslim community. As a result, the government decided to introduce new legislations allowing individuals to choose either burial or cremation according to their wishes. Additionally, provisions were also made for bodies to be donated to medical facilities if desired. These measures aim to prevent similar issues from arising in the future.
President Wickremesinghe also attended a meeting with school leavers and unemployed youth in the Chenkaladi area in Batticaloa yesterday.
The eastern province alone has over 1,800 preschools, yet the allowances provided to the teachers in the area are insufficient. Is there a plan to increase their allowances?
We have decided to increase the allowance of preschool teachers by 2,500 rupees. This will be implemented from this week onwards.
A large number of people in this area lack basic infrastructure, including permanent housing. Is there a plan to implement a program to provide housing and other infrastructure facilities to them?
As per the Constitution, the presidential election will be held either in September or October this year. Both the SJP and NPP have said that the parliamentary election should be held immediately after the presidential election. It seems as if the last quarter of this year will be entirely taken up by the elections. It is not feasible implementing this program before that. However, we have planned to initiate several new housing projects over the next few years. Additionally, there are plans to significantly develop tourism in this area. Further, more employment opportunities and income sources will be created for the youth of the Eastern Province in the future.
Meanwhile, MP S. Vyalendran was sworn in as the State Minister of Trade and Environment before the President this morning. Vyalendran was appointed to Parliament as a Nationalist MP by the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna. He initially served as a member of the Tamil National Alliance.
Less sugar, same great taste. From Melbourne.
Sri Lanka has welcomed over 980,000 tourists during the first half of 2024. Tourism Minister Harin Fernando says the country must issue more free visas to tourists in order to compete with regional competitors and to achieve the nation's ambitious target of 2.3 million tourist arrivals during the current year. The minister added that the special committee report on the proposal to issue free visas to tourists from 67 nations will be presented to the cabinet within the next 2 weeks.
According to the Sri Lanka Tourism Development Authority's latest report, 84,383 tourists have arrived in Sri Lanka during the period from the 1st to the 23rd of June. Speaking at the Presidential Media Centre, Tourism Minister Harin Fernando revealed a number of government initiatives intended to attract more tourists into the country.
As of today, around 990,000 tourists have arrived in Sri Lanka so far this year. Cabinet has appointed a special committee to provide a report on the proposal to issue free visas to tourists from 67 countries. That committee's report will be submitted to Cabinet either this week or the next. Our competitors, the Maldives, Thailand, Cambodia, Malaysia and Singapore all offer free visa facilities. We have seen a significant increase in the number of requests for 6-month multiple entry visas. There has been a similar increase in the number of requests for 1, 2 and 5-year visas. However, in order to be competitive as a tourist destination, we must relax the regulations for single entry visas as well. We will launch our global tourism promotion initiative within the week. There will be 5 separate campaigns for China, Europe, Australia and Japan, India and Eastern Europe. The procurement process has been completed and it only remains to finalize the contracts with our partners. With this campaign, we intend to attract a record number of tourists to the country for the winter season, which starts in November. Apart from that, we intend to launch a marine tourism promotion campaign by August this year. Through this campaign, we intend to attract global recognition to Trincomalee and Arugam Bay as premier marine tourist destinations. 33% of the tourists who arrive in Sri Lanka are repeat visitors. That is why we intend to promote the tagline, Sri Lanka, you come back for more.
Crunchy goodness for hunger on the go.
Horizon Campus 2024 intake. Register now.
We're taking you to the political controversy surrounding the Sri Lanka Freedom Party. Dr. Vijayadasa Rajapaksa, who is barred from acting as chairman of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, says the SLFP will not have to face issues pertaining to its leadership after he secures victory in the presidential election. However, senior deputy chairman of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, Mahinda Amaravira, assures that the country's next president will be the candidate with the support of his faction of the SLFP.
The Kandy Divisional Representatives meeting of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party was held yesterday under the patronage of the party's former chairman, former President Maithripala Sirisena, and Dr. Vijayadasa Rajapaksa, who was barred from functioning as the SLFP chairman by a court order.
Yes, I will. And we will win the presidential election. Once we win the presidential election, all court cases filed against me will become invalid as per the constitution. There will not be any further issues regarding the leadership of the party. All supporters are of the view that no one who claims they hold force position in the party shall be allowed to engage in politics in Kandy. Supporters of the party are doing well. However, 10 to 12 members of the faction who separated from the party are attempting to betray the party in exchange for financial benefits. This is the only difference. We competed under different logos. The logo of the last decade is not suitable for this election. We will introduce a new logo.
Anyone can make such statements. However, they will come to an end within the next 2 months. The presidential election will be held in 2 months and they will witness their downfall when the time comes. We cannot control statements made in the political arena. It is the truth. It is being orchestrated by the cardinal and a group of politicians. This has been going on for 5 years. Was it I who executed the bombings, manufactured the bombs or supplied the weapons? Some 160 suspects related to the bombings are currently in prison, but no one, including the media and politicians, are talking about it. Not even the cardinal is speaking about expediting the legal action against them. Instead, I am the one being targeted by everyone. I am not counting the number of court cases filed against me, nor do I care about it.
We hold the power. The party is not divided into two factions anymore. We are strengthening and organizing the SLFP. We were attacked with court cases. The party, which previously comprised 140 MPs, narrowed down to 2. It is a joke if anyone says a presidential candidate will be nominated from within the party. However, the next president of Sri Lanka will be the person that we support.
Meanwhile, the Colombo District Court today ordered for the case against former President Maithripala Sirisena to be heard ex parte. The order was issued when the case related to the injunction issued preventing the former president from functioning as the chairman of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party was taken up in court this morning. The decision was taken as neither former President Maithripala Sirisena nor his counsel appeared before the court. The case will once again be taken up for consideration on the 26th of August. The petition was filed by Montegu Sarachandra, an executive committee member of the SLFP.
National organizer of the Sri Lanka Pudujana Peramuna, MP Namal Rajapaksa, says the divisions within the SLPP has caused individuals to fight for leadership of the party. He added that party members must adhere to party core values instead of fighting for short-term goals. Meanwhile, SLPP MP Rohitha Abegunawardena says that the party must be strengthened to form a strong government as the current government appears to be unstable.
The only way we can protect the political camp that we believe in is by strengthening our political party. The reason many people are trying to take over the leadership of this political camp is because it has been divided into several groups. We must remember our core values. The reason I keep reminding them is because this is an era where people forget about those values easily because of short-term goals. We must not forget how we started.
We are an unbeaten political party. We cannot trust the government because it is unstable. We can see that we are going to lose the government that we established. However, if the party is stable, then we can establish a strong government. If we believe in our party rather than in the government and work to strengthen it, then we can establish a strong government.
We must select the candidate based on the policy guidelines of the party. We must put forward a person who can win the election. That person must be someone who recognizes and respects our political identity as well as our political pride before and after the election.
And opposition leader Sajith Premadasa claims that Sri Lanka's state of bankruptcy can only be determined by global credit rating agencies after considering financial data of the economy. He added that people should not rush to conclusions on the country's economic status based on the claims of individuals.
The 256th edition of the Sakvala program was held at St. John's College in Kaluthara under the patronage of opposition leader Sajith Premadasa.
Our country is bankrupt. After Sri Lanka institutes its debt repayment program, global credit rating agencies like Standard & Poor's, Moody's and Fitch Ratings can use financial data to ascertain whether the country is bankrupt or not. Our children sit for examinations. However, they are not the ones who release the results of those exams. The Department of Examinations releases the result. Likewise, we cannot declare that we have come out of bankruptcy. It is the global credit rating agencies that must do so. According to some global ratings, Sri Lanka remains in the selective default or default phase. We need to understand that we cannot come to a conclusion about whether the country is bankrupt or not based on the statements of certain individuals or groups. That declaration has to be made by credit rating agencies.
Deputy leader of the United National Party, Akhila Viraj Karyavasa, meanwhile states that President Ranil Wickremesinghe will address the nation this Wednesday, the 26th of June, and declare Sri Lanka's recovery from bankruptcy. Meanwhile, MP S.M. Marika is of the view that the government's rushed agreements with the country's creditors will be unfavourable for Sri Lanka. With that, let's take a look at views expressed at the political fora.
On the 7th of July, our election campaign will commence in the Gampaha district under the patronage of our leader Sajith Premadasa. To win this year's election, we will need to gain at least 7.5 million votes.
President Ranil Wickremesinghe's program is in operation now. On the 26th and 27th, the message of recovery from bankruptcy will be announced. President Ranil Wickremesinghe will address the nation and discuss the next steps in the process.
President Ranil Wickremesinghe, who is also the Minister of Finance, who validates the issuance of the country's banknotes, announced that Sri Lanka will recover from bankruptcy on the 27th of this month. The other person who validates the issuance of banknotes is the central bank governor, and he made a statement about Sri Lanka not entering bankruptcy in December last year. If the Minister of Finance is speaking the truth, then the governor is telling lies, or is it the other way around?
There's another problem here. We are still negotiating with international bondholders. Some rumors suggest that an agreement will be signed with India, China and the Paris Club. How can one proceed after making such announcements? If we sign an agreement in a rush, the haircut that we are meant to receive will be reduced. This is a dangerous situation.
And the Education Ministry has requested the Defence Ministry for security for all schools in view of the trade union action taken by academic and non-academic staff. Let's take a look at several trade union action launched in demand of solutions to a number of issues affecting government workers, including salary discrepancies and non-receipt of allowances.
The non-academic staff of government schools launched a trade union action by reporting in sick today and tomorrow. Non-academic staff members of government schools in the central, north central and southern provinces engaged in the trade union action. However, issuing a statement, the Education Ministry stated that it will not allow the trade union action to disrupt the education system, adding that all government schools functioned as usual throughout the day today. According to the Education Ministry, launching trade union action in a situation where it is impossible to immediately formulate a national policy for non-academic staff members is a political move. As such, the Secretary to the Ministry of Education, J.M. Tilakajaya Sundara, requested Defence Secretary General Kamal Gunaratne to ensure the security of all schools, national colleges of education, their academic staff and students, while the non-academic staff engage in their sick leave campaign today and tomorrow. Meanwhile, the trade union action launched by the non-academic staff of state universities in demand of solutions for salary discrepancies continued for the 54th day today. In a separate update, government Ayurveda medical officers engaged in a protest in front of the Finance Ministry in protest of the government not providing them with the allowance which they are entitled to for 27 years and failing to approving the relevant cabinet paper which includes providing the allowance in question. It is reported that a discussion between union officials and officials of the Finance Ministry ended unsuccessfully. Meanwhile, government executive officers have decided to launch a trade union action by reporting in sick tomorrow and the day after in demand of solutions to salary discrepancies. According to the Joint Committee of Government Executives, a protest is set to be launched in Colombo tomorrow. Further, the Teacher Principal Trade Union Alliance is expected to call in sick on the 26th of June as part of a trade union action.
Welcome back. Sri Lanka's National Consumer Price Index inflation fell to 1.6% year-on-year in May from 2.7% in April, according to the Census and Statistics Department. The decrease was mainly due to the deflation of the food price during the month. On a monthly basis, the year-on-year inflation of the food group decreased in April 2024 to 0.3% from 3.3% in April this year, and the year-on-year inflation of the non-food group increased to 2.4% from 2.3%. The month-on-month change resulted from a 0.23% decrease in inflation in the food group and a decrease of 1.35% in the non-food group. A quick highlight of international news before we wrap up. Gunmen killed at least 20 in Russia in a church attack, while an explosion in South Korea claimed at least 20 lives. That's all from us. We'll see you again tomorrow at the same time. Good night.